I've covered a few court cases in my journalism career, but Ninja Man's murder trial stands out the most. It wasn't because it marked the juicy downfall of one of the greatest to ever do this thing called dancehall, but because of how he acted in court on the day of his sentencing. But before we go there, how did this veteran DJ who was 51 at the time end up in this situation? And why does pop culture easily rally for the release of incarcerated artists Vybz Kartel and Sean Storm, but is reserved when it comes to the original front tooth, gold tooth, Don Gorgon? Let's go back in time. A Ninja Man, whose actual name is Desmond Ballantyne, moved to Kingston from St. Mary in the 1970s when he was 11. The 70s really saw the blossoming of analog dancehall, and he was drawn to the emerging genre and the sound system scene. So it wasn't long before he joined in by DJing for the Black Culture Sound System under the moniker Double Ugly. By the 80s, he changed his stage name to Ugly Man and became a selector for Kilimanjaro. In 1986, he made his recording debut as Ninja Man with the song Protection featuring Courtney Melody, and scored his first hit 2 years later with Cover Me alongside singer Tinga Stewart. Though his breakthrough showed him as this Casanova of sorts, Ninja Man really became widely known for his controversial rude boy lyrics in the early 90s, which hailed gun violence. He not only created the hits, but he performed the heck out of them. From his head-turning costumes and hairstyles to his theatrical freestyles, seeing him on stage was true entertainment. Soon enough, he became the Clash King, conquering big names like Shabba Ranks. Beyond the stardom and growing success, Ninja Man was battling his own demons, one of which was a cocaine addiction he struggled with for 10 years. I interviewed his former manager Copeland Forbes back in 2019, and he recalled being there in Ninja Man's lowest times. I've taken him overseas on shows, and on me, I have to end up ironing clothes and getting down to the show because he was in a different world. Promoters were on my back, and I have to wonder, how me take up a book this man because I never know it gone that bad. Him come down at the show and do couple songs, then hand over the mic to someone and disappear. But just as he fought with his demons, Ninja Man also fought to change his life on several occasions. In 1997, he changed his moniker to Brother Desmond after baptism and started performing reggae gospel songs. He also started getting help for his cocaine addiction. Things seemed to be going well for the DJ, who even landed a role in the action movie Third World Cop in 1999, but that same year saw him being sentenced to 1 year behind the bars for unlawful possession of a firearm. His relationship with guns continued into the new millennium, as we saw him handing over a Glock to then Senior Superintendent of Police Renita Adams at the 2002 Sting staging. By the next Sting, he and the Vybz Kartel were fighting on stage, bringing the show to a premature end. They were later arrested following a PR moment with Sting promoters and the police, and Ninja Man was charged with disorderly conduct and assault. He was eventually released on a $15,000 bail after appearing before the Spanish Town Resident Magistrates Court, and things seemed to settle for some time. In reforming his controversial and violence-associated brand, Ninja Man established the Jamaica All for Peace One Umbrella Movement Limited in April 2008 to campaign for peace and assist the less fortunate in society. It really was a good look for the DJ, whose involvement in unlawful activities overshadowed the reality of him being a long-time charitable father figure, but his efforts to reform his brand would be seriously threatened come 2009. According to prosecutors, Ninja Man, his son Janiel, and others entered a yard on Mall Road in Olympic Gardens and fired shots at a man who fled the premises. 20-year-old Ricardo Ricky Trooper Johnson was in that yard and fatally shot in the process. Ninja Man and his son were subsequently arrested and charged with murder, conspiracy to murder, shooting with intent, and illegal possession of a firearm. The DJ spent 3 years at the Horizon Correctional Center before being granted a $2 million bail. Upon his release, society seemed to be on board with cleaning up his image. He signed a 2-year record deal with Down Sound Records and enjoyed a resurgence up to 2015 with songs like Jamaica Town and Ninja Me Ninja. Beyond the music industry players, the government also started working with Ninja Man, and he was invited by the National Security Ministry to speak to members of the police force in 2017 on ways to combat crime. But as quickly as the state started using him for their own benefits, so too did they revoke his bail and commence his trial that October. The trial unfolded over 1 month, with High Court Judge Justice Martin Gale presiding over the case and Queen's Counsel Valerie Neita-Robertson representing Ninja Man. The key witness testified that Ninja Man shot at him twice on the night in question, which Ninja Man later denied, as well as any involvement in the shooting when he took the stand. He was absent from court one day after being taken to the hospital following complaints of chest pains and difficulty breathing, but was later discharged and continued the trial. On November 20, a 7-member jury found him guilty of Johnson's murder, and he faced sentencing on December 18. So I'm sitting in court across from Ninja Man's loved ones and supporters, and the atmosphere is understandably tense. Throughout the court proceedings, he kept turning around to smile at his supporters, including Kiva the dancing diva Hibbert, who regards him as a father figure. It was a serious day, it was an intense day, but he seemed so at peace, so giddy, almost childlike, sitting in the prisoner's dock. There were 4 character witnesses, including Sinjay Statius and dancehall queen Carleen, and I just want to say as an aside that I really love how Carleen rides for our veterans and supports them even in their roughest times. She actually begged Justice Gale for leniency in his sentencing, which he addressed. Of the most interesting character evidence, the one given by Miss Carleen Smith was so important to me. She said that you always encouraged persons to be peaceful, and she mentioned the name Vybz Kartel, who is currently serving a life sentence. You are a public figure. Persons expect you to set an example. And just like that, he handed down the life sentence, which will see Ninja Man eligible for parole in 25 years. Immediately after the judge announced the sentence, Ninja Man did something that puzzles me to this day. He said thumbs up to the judge, even throwing up the sign. It was so immediate, it's as if he already knew he was going to get the life sentence, or he was just ready for whatever. He was, in fact, smiling. So while this is happening, Kiva's crying, other people are gasping, like it's a whole scene. Janelle was also handed a life sentence and will have to serve 15 years before becoming eligible for parole. They were both smiling, leaving the prisoner's dock in handcuffs by police, and the Ninja Man said this to Carleen as he passed her outside. "It's not the end," she quoted. He's that kind of character where everything is a happy-go-lucky moment, but I know deep down there's regrets. At the time, his attorney said they'd be appealing, but we haven't really heard much about this since. I fathom it's because of something else Ninja Man said to her, which suggests he sees purpose in his predicament. He said to me, "Miss Nita, God know why I'm sending me down a Tower Street. May I continue my work with the man them down there with a fire gun." And I was very comforted by that. While he's found resolve in his conviction, I can't help but notice that he isn't really talked about in pop culture spaces today. Social media has been a hub for popular hashtags like Free Cartel and Free Buju, when he was locked up, of course, but we don't see those freedom cries for Ninja Man. I spoke to Foota Hype about this back in 2019, and he chalked it up as Ninja Man's catalog not being relevant to the current generation. Ninja Man is a stage show artist. None of them people here where crowd Free Vybz Kartel or Free Buju and really follow up stage show. Them follow up the internet, so I think that's where the void is with Ninja Man. I also got Yellowman's take on it since they came up in the game around the same time, and he said, him fans them miss him, but I don't hear nobody talk about him like how them talk about Cartel or Buju. While there may not be a single answer to this question, it'll be nice to see his legacy immortalized in a real way so we don't end up giving him his flowers when he's no longer on earth. His estates can be more active in continuing his work with his foundation, having crime intervention sessions with youth, or even venturing into seasonal limited merch bearing some of his most iconic looks, slangs, and quotes. It'll also be good to see a revitalized social media presence which aims to uplift and encourage you to stay on the right path. I did a follow-up on how he's doing behind bars some time ago, and Kiva told me that per his nature, which I saw in court, he's always in good spirits. When I go there, I'm always the one crying and he's always the one cheering me up. He's a happy person. He doesn't like tears and sadness, so it'll be hard to know when he's sad. As for how he's doing these days, I tried doing another story with his wife, but she respectfully declined. I hope he's doing well, I hope he's healthy, and I hope he feels loved and appreciated for the good he did as a person and artist. We all make mistakes and fight demons. What matters is your ability to learn from each experience and use it to transform your existence and that of others. Until next time, like and subscribe if you dig the vibe, and share this video with your tribe.